Hey, welcome. Today we are diving into a really fascinating legal story that all started with one powerful question. Can a government use a secret rule to take away your freedom? Now, this isn't just some dry legal theory. Nope, this is a story that draws a critical line in the sand between a government that follows the law and one that operates in the shadows.
So let's just start right there with that huge question that's at the heart of this whole thing. Is it okay for the government to use a secret, unpublished rule to decide if you should be locked up? I mean, it sounds like something straight out of a movie, right? But this exact question was at the center of a very real and very high-stakes legal fight.
And like all of these big legal principles, this one wasn't born in some stuffy textbook. It was forged in the life of an actual person. So let's meet the man at the center of it all, Mr. Lumba.
So who was he? Well, Mr. Lumba was a foreign national living in the UK. He'd served his time for a criminal offense and completed his prison sentence. But here's the thing, instead of being released, he was immediately detained all over again. This time it was by immigration authorities who were deciding whether to deport him. The key point here is that his official sentence was over, but his freedom was still completely in the hands of the state.
Okay, and this is where the story gets really interesting, because the decision to keep Mr. Lumba locked up, well, it all came down to government policy. But as it turned out, there wasn't just one policy. This was a tale of two totally different rulebooks.
So on the surface, the official public government policy seemed pretty fair, pretty cautious. It said that detaining someone like Mr. Lumba after they'd served their sentence should be an exceptional measure, something used only as a last resort. This makes it sound like every case gets a careful look and that a person's liberty is taken super seriously.
That sounds reasonable, doesn't it? A careful case-by-case approach. But here's the question that just blew this entire case wide open. Was that the policy they were actually using behind closed doors?
And the answer was a huge, shocking no. In reality, the government was working from a completely different and totally secret policy. While the public rule said detention was a last resort, the secret rule did the exact opposite. It created a blanket presumption in favor of detention. It was a secret, unpublished policy of pretty much automatic detention, the complete opposite of what they were telling everyone.
Now, a contradiction that big between the rule they publish and the secret one they actually use, well, that just couldn't stand. Mr. Lumba's case went all the way to the UK's highest court, the Supreme Court. The secret rule itself was about to be put on trial.
So the court had to figure out a couple of really fundamental things. First up, let's just look at the policy itself. Was it even legal for the government to have this secret, contradictory policy in the first place?
The Supreme Court's answer was crystal clear and incredibly powerful. No, absolutely not. A public body acting on a secret policy is, by definition, acting unlawfully. It goes against the entire idea of transparent government. It's just flat out beyond their legal powers to do that.
Okay, so the policy itself was illegal. Got it. But what did that mean for Mr. Lumba personally? If the rule was illegal, was his detention, which happened because of that rule, also illegal? And the court's logic here was just airtight. The answer was a definitive yes. Mr. Lumba's detention was unlawful for the simple reason that the decision to take away his freedom was made by applying that secret, illegal policy. It's simple. You can't get a lawful result from an unlawful process.
This huge decision wasn't just a win for Mr. Lumba. It created a powerful new legal idea, a precedent. You could even call it a new rule for the rulers. And today, we call it the Lumba Doctrine.
So what is it exactly? Well, the Lumba Doctrine lays down this incredibly important principle. Any decision made by a public authority is unlawful if it's based on a secret policy that completely contradicts the one they've publicly said they're following. It's a direct challenge to government secrecy. Let's just boil that down into three simple ideas. 1. Public bodies have to follow their own rules. What they say they'll do, they have to do. 2. No secret rulebooks. Government has to be transparent and predictable. And 3, and this is the big one, it upholds the rule of law. The government isn't above the law, it's subject to it, just like everyone else. And this idea here really gets to the very heart of the judgment. The whole concept of the rule of law, which is, the bedrock of a fair society, demands that the rules are out in the open for everyone to see. It's common sense, right? You can't be expected to follow a law that you're not even allowed to know exists.
So, you might be thinking, okay, this is a really interesting legal case from the UK, but why does this actually matter to me? And that's a fair question, but the principle behind it is absolutely universal.
It matters because the Lumba Doctrine is a safeguard for all of us. It makes sure that any government, anywhere, can be held accountable to its own rules. It demands that power is used fairly and out in the open. It stops a situation where there's one set of rules for the public and another, secret set of rules for the people in charge.
And that kind of leaves us with one last really big question to think about. The Lumba case drew a pretty clear line when it comes to secret policies that affect someone's freedom. But it makes you wonder, in all the other parts of our lives, how much transparency should we, as citizens, really demand from the people who govern us? It's definitely a question worth thinking about.